sex comedies.
Ooh, cover the kids' eyes.
Cover them. Who's peeking?
Who's peeking?
I always peeked. Now there is already a list over at ranker.com where thousands of people have already voted on their favorite sex comedies. So throughout the episode, we're gonna be comparing our lists with the general public's list. All right, what's your number 5 favorite sex comedy of all time?
So my number 5 is Ranker's number 9. Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
I just think Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn are just such a good duo always.
Yes.
And I'm just a big fan of the concept of this movie. It's just such like a bachelor scheme, just to go to all these weddings, try to get with all these ladies who are in a romantic move, and it just, you know, it gets mushy-gushy towards the end. But I just loved that concept, and it's one of those movies that I think you can watch over and over and over and laugh your ass off the whole time.
Okay, so my number 5 was Ranker's number 2. Superbad. It was one of those movies where, like all of the movies on this list for the most part, came out when I was like too young to see an R-rated movie and wasn't allowed to do it. So when I was 12 or 13, I remember being at a baseball tournament where it was like one of those ones where we were staying in motels, and the entire team went to see Rush Hour 3, and me and like the other bad kid on the team, we snuck out and saw Superbad. So worth it. I saw boobs, Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, McLovin. They absolutely crushed it.
I'm McLovin. Woo!
Also, when we're talking about sex comedies, this has like one of the best intros to all sex comedies, where it starts off with Jonah Hill and Michael Cera talking about, and it's so dated now, talking about what porn sites they're gonna subscribe to when they go to college. This was before porn on the internet was really free.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a time?
Where it's like porn's just like really sketchy to look up on the family computer. Okay, so my number 4 is Ranker's number 54, Easy A. I love Easy A. I'm a big Emma Stone gal. I think
Who isn't?
She's hilarious. I love her. One of my favorite characters in that entire movie is Amanda Bynes. She plays the like holier than thou Christian girl who's like, she's gonna slut shame you.
There's a higher power that will judge you for your indecency.
Which I just think she just nails that role. I think she's so good.
Sorry, our dog was making noise. I'm just gonna hold him for the rest of it.
I think a lot of the sex comedy category is based around guys trying to get laid, and I think this is the one movie where it is a female-led movie where it's like, because it's the high school experience where all guys do not want to be a virgin. They do not want to be known as a virgin at all.
We will get laid!
And all girls do not want to be the whore.
That might be like a perfect movie. There's a lesson at the end. It's fun, it's sweet. Stanley Tucci's in it, and he crushes it.
It's so good.
Okay, so my number 4 was number 4 on the ranker.com list.
Matchy match.
Matchy, Eurotrip. This movie is, I think, the best of the like, clearly it's an excuse to show boob. It's just literally like, hey, here's a scene where they're at college and all the sorority houses showing their
boobs.
And I watch it every time.
You're gonna pay for it, you know?
But this was a really, really funny movie. This is a very good movie. Matt Damon coming in with a cameo for Scotty Doesn't Know. I would be shocked if that didn't win the Oscar for Best Original Music. If it didn't, shame on the Academy.
You wanna put him down?
I got it.
Okay. Okay, so my number 3 is Ranker's number 6, 40-Year-Old Virgin. You know, we love a good Steve Carell. Nothing is funnier to me than him describing boobs as like sand.
It feels like a bag of sand when you're touching it.
When he's trying to convince the rest of these guys that he has felt breasts before.
The other great scene in that movie is when they go to like the sex counseling thing.
Yes.
And he's a virgin, and I just love every other person in there. They have the biggest dork kids ever, and they're like, I'm not a virgin, I'm always tapping ass. It is the absolute best. And fun fact, the sex therapist is played by Steve Carell's wife in real life. Okay, so my number 3 is number 9 on ranker.com's list, and actually your number 5, it is Wedding Crashers.
Okay.
Wedding Crashers, like you said, absolutely fantastic movie. I have a sweet spot in my heart for it because there is that one like 30-second clip when they are showing the montage of everybody, them going to all the different weddings, and it's always funny because it's like they're going to, here's the Korean wedding, and here's the Italian wedding, here's the Jewish wedding, but for the Irish one, they come in and he goes, Seamus O'Toole, Bobby O'Shea, I'm ready to get drunk. Any movie where they say O'Shea, sweet spot in his heart. Okay, I'll put you down, Bubba. Okay, what is your number 2?
Okay, so my number 2 was Ranker's number 47, which I was like, is this considered a sex movie? But I could not put it on the list because it's so good. Good Boys. It's
That movie's so good.
so funny. I was like, if anything, it's more of a kissing movie. There's nothing funnier than being like 13-year-old boys being like, we're having a party tonight. And it's gonna be a kissing party.
By the way, it's gonna be a kissing party. That is, I saw that movie too, and I thought the same thing to myself. I was like, I didn't put it on my list because I was like, I don't even know if this is a sex comedy, but it would be number one of all of these movies.
It's anything a 12-year-old boy finds funny, I find funny. So like that movie was just an absolute smash.
There's the scene where they like accidentally are watching porn, and they're
Yes.
like, is this what it's like having a stepmom? And then they something's about to happen, and they cut to the one kid, he goes, get out of there, girl!
Get out of there, girl!
Such a good movie. So my number 2 was number 3 on Ranker.com's list, The Girl Next Door.
Okay.
Which, by the way, of all of these movies, and there's a lot of these movies where they're like future Oscar winners, I think this is the most like real film actor cast in a sex comedy. You got Emile Hirsch for Into the Wild, The Emperor's Club, Speed Racer, Timothy Olyphant, sexiest man alive, and also just like a very good actor. And then Paul Dano. Paul Dano of There Will Be Blood and Little Miss Sunshine. And like, holy shit, this guy's like, I'd be kind of scared to meet him, but he plays like the dorky friend who ends up having sex on camera.
Dude, I'm kind of uncomfortable watching this with you.
The Girl Next Door, the reason I put it number 2 is because this is probably the most gripping plot for 12-year-old Jack, which is, what if that girl you have a crush on turned out to be a porn star?
Yeah.
That is the dream. It always was the dream. All right, what's your number 1?
Okay, so my number 1 was ranked as number 83, Trainwreck. You can't start any stronger than with John Cena in the beginning, just being John Cena, like
John Cena! The boys make the noise. The Rock went into movies and became a family star.
Yeah.
John Cena immediately
He went edgy.
bare ass
Yeah.
with erection holding towel.
Yeah.
Don't get the ball, buddy. Goose was about to get the ball that's under the camera, would have ruined the whole thing. That is a movie that I can rewatch.
Yeah.
Every month I could put it back on and it is just as enjoyable.
Yeah.
My number 1 was number 7 on Ranker.com's list. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This movie I probably saw at the youngest of all of these movies. I think I was like 9 or 10. It was one of those movies where it's such a classic, it's such a good movie that you could kind of get away with throwing it on as like when you're growing up, because it's like throwing on Jaws, where it's like, or The Godfather, where it's like, it's the cinema, this is a classic.
I know I've watched that movie, but that's again one of those things where I watched it so long ago because you kind of get away with it. I don't really remember it all that well.
That movie taught me about how sex worked. But you really can't discuss sex comedies without mentioning the Phoebe Cates pool scene where they play Moving in Stereo by the Cars. Yeah, but Fast Times at Ridgemont High, number 1. Yeah, okay, so those were our favorite sex comedies. Do we miss any of your favorites? Let us know in the comments, or better yet, just go over to Ranker.com to the list and vote your favorites to the top. Also, don't forget to let us know in the comments who you think is the best list between the two of us, or
Who's on top?
who's on top.
Literally this time. Sex comedy.
Sex comedies. Bye, guys.